ahead.
Okay. I'll give you a minute. Ready? Okay.
Mhm.
Let's go. Okay. Hi, I'm Piku Reese and today I'll be talking about, is knowing your ancestry important? You guys think so? Okay. Why would you want to know your ancestry? Like, why do you guys think it's important? Like, what are some valid reasons that you could think of?
To know where you're coming from, basically.
That's a solid one.
That Bob Marley song.
Any other reasons? Not just that? Okay. So I'll talk about a few of them because I just feel like it is important. And usually it starts by, do you know who your ancestries are? If not, it's okay. How do you identify yourself? In Indian countries, most times you're identified by your last name. People ask you who your parents, who your grandparents are, and that will usually tell them a lot about your characteristics. But your family doesn't define who you are. The government also gives you an identity. Every day when you're first born, you get a social security number card. And if you're lucky to be Native American, you also get a CIB, so they get to identify your blood quantum. Sometimes I pick this topic because sometimes I feel like I don't believe I'm Native American because of my blood quantum. It's not really like full. Everyone wants to like argue about that, but that doesn't define who you are fully. So that's why I'm here. Having my surname, it really helped show like who I am and how strong my bloodline is, and like really hone my identity. That's why I want to talk, because it's like an emotional topic. So you would want to start by your family tree, by breaking that down. So most of the time, parents' units are not included in the birth certificates. So I don't want to stereotype, but most fathers don't sign the birth certificate. And so that, in the birth certificate, if they're not in there, they are not legally, they don't have no legal rights to the child. For example, an unwedded father is not listed, he is not obligated for the responsibilities, and his child is unable to benefit. So that talks about, with me getting into that, it talks about like blood quantum. Like if your father and your mother are from the same tribe, you don't get the, like, if your father doesn't sign, you don't get the full blood quantum. So if your father's full and your mom's full, and only your dad puts it, you only get half your blood quantum. But MHA, they switched their laws and their blood quantum. You can include your mothers and your fathers, and they don't have to be from the same tribe. But that's only if your father, like, your father actually adopted you, or blanking right now. If your father actually claims you, yeah. So first, you would want to start by knowing what comes from your lineage. Common mistake is thinking that you're related to someone just because you have the same name, same last name, like Smith. Smith is a common one, but there's also different Black Hawk family, different Baker families, so there's like common misconceptions about that. But you want to break it down by asking your family members, especially yours for your birth certificate, and your parents and your grandparents, because a lot of people will claim that they're not cousins, but in reality, it's just because relatives don't claim their other siblings. Like just because you guys didn't grow up in the same grandma's house doesn't mean you don't share the same grandmas. It's just maybe your grandmas had a falling out. So a lot of people will say we're not related, but they are. And obituaries is another good place to go back and like identify, especially if your grandparents have obituaries from past loved ones or elders that went on. That will help show more of your family tree. It's good to know who your family is so you're not ending up dating cousins or distant relatives. And it's also a main concern is health concerns. You want to know if you're at high risk for anything, especially because many families struggle with diabetes, mental health, generational trauma, and cancer. So it's good to know to let your doctor know you might be high risk. Because as you can see this chart, your father could be healthy and your mother could have a diagnosis that we don't know yet. So here's some of the examples that I list. Diabetes, which is high in the Indian country, lung cancer, breast cancer, and then mental health, anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, Alzheimer's, and dementia. These are all scary, so it's good to know. And so my solution is, they used to have 23andMe Health, but that got discontinued in 2021. So that's no longer available, an option. But call to action, Ancestry.com is a good source to reach out and identify your family tree. Most of the time they already have like either one of your family members already created one, so Ancestry will automatically connect it by breaking down your birthday, where your location. So always be specific. Don't just give a name and a last name, just because it will help you break it down to minimize. And then another one is Celsus records, or Census, Census. I can't say it. Census records, but those are located here at United Tribes too, so you have free access to them. So you could find if your grandpa or grandma or any relative went to school here, especially in the early 80s. And also the Heritage Center, MHA, and Standing Rock, you guys can all ask for a copy of your family tree and they can print it out and give it to you. And I think most of the time people don't really know that because I just don't think they want to know. But 23andMe is more complex than Ancestry.com because it's actually breaking down you're giving your DNA, but I wouldn't recommend it because it's very high risk and it's a source used for health. And it's risky because the website has been compromised, so you can run the risk of your data being sold, which is already being sold as we speak. And it's better to know to keep a book so you can pass it on. And yeah. Thank you. Questions?